Now there is one more thing that I want to show here. If I see a list of all the active containers, you can see the port number that are exposed. If I use the docker run command again to build, let's say, one more container here, that will be based on version 12 here, and if I do not define the port number, let me run that. Now if I examine the docker ps here, great. You can see we have that new container here, but the port is 80 TCP. That means it is exposed on the internal Docker host port of 80 TCP, but it is not binded to any port on our machine. Because of that, even though this is up and running, we will not be able to access that like we were accessing the other two containers. So that way it is very critical to add a port number. That way you can access and bind that to the internal ports of Docker host. Now we want to remove this container because we cannot access that. So if I try the command docker rm to remove a container and enter 96, we will see error message. The container cannot be removed because it is already running. We need to stop a container. To stop a container, we have the command docker stop and then the container ID. We can write 963 or only 96. That is unique, so it should be okay. If we do docker ps, let me display all container. Great. The status for the 96 is exited and that looks good. Sometimes what can happen is Docker container might stop responding or something went wrong in the container, and if you are trying to stop the container, that doesn't work. At that point, we have a command docker kill, and that will basically kill the container. Let me show that in action. I will kill the version 10 here, that is 96. Let me add that, and perfect. Now this time if you do docker ps all container, you will see something different for the container that we killed. It will exit with a status code of 137. Status code of 0 means everything was stopped in a normal manner, but if it is 137, you can tell that something was not right and we had to kill that container. But now that both the containers are stopped here, we can remove those containers using the docker rm command, and we will enter 96, we can add a space there, 906. That way we can remove multiple containers in one command. Let me try that. And perfect, that looks good. The one container that is running right now is on port 9001. If I refresh here, that is working. If I stop that container, 118 here, and if I refresh here, let me do a hard refresh, and perfect, we see the error message. Now if we have to restart that, we can do docker start 118. That will start the container again, and perfect. But we also have a command that is restart, and that will basically restart the container. And perfect, that works. If you refresh here, that is up and running. So basic commands with Docker to stop a container, start a container, or restart a container. Now one more thing that I want to show you is if I do docker ps or the active container, we are running the version 12 here on port 9001. Let me stop that container. I will do docker stop 118 here, and let me build a new container. We have the docker run here. I want to use the version 10 here, let me call that, and it will be on version 10. The port number will be the same, so -p 9001 to 80. Let me run that, and if I do docker psa, perfect, it is up and running here. If I refresh, we have the old version. We can easily toggle things between version. We can stop the B31. That is the old version here. Let me stop that. Perfect. If I refresh here, it will not work anymore. And now if I go back here, I can do docker start, the new version, That is inside 118. If I go back here, perfect. So with that you can see how easy it is to toggle between version. Like if you release a new version here, if something does not look right, you can easily revert back and bring your old code back in few seconds.